Okay, so the NRL and RLPA standoff, there's been some news in the last 24 hours. So yesterday I did a video discussing the growing possibility of a player strike. Fast forward a day, and yesterday evening Australian time, which would be morning my time, reports were coming out in the Australian media that the talks were going to resume today, and that Clint Newton, who's head of the RLPA, and Andrew Abdo, the head of the NRL, would be in the room. Peter V'landys has now got heavily involved. Now, whether they've got that independent mediator that the RLPA want is another thing, but with the likelihood of a strike growing, something had to give. Now, we don't know if this has been on the insistence of V'landys and Abdo to come back in the room, or the RLPA have decided to come back in the room and end the standoff. What we know is talks have resumed. Now, one of the reasons why these CBA negotiations have actually dragged on for the best part of 2 years is the breakdown in the working relationship between Clint Newton and Andrew Abdo. They have really clashed quite badly in the negotiations, which ultimately led a few weeks back to the NRL player media boycott taking place, and then along with that, then the covering up of the NRL logo, and then the growing talk of a potential strike or escalation from the media boycott to stronger action from the RLPA. Now, a lot has been said in the media. A lot of the mainstream media has had a slightly weighted, biased opinion towards the league. There are a few independent media outlets that are a bit more balanced. But in reality, the working relationship basically between Clint Newton and Andrew Abdo has broken down. Now, we do know they are going to be in the room, whether they're actually fully part of the negotiations or they're just there to then relay to the RLPA members or the NRL staff what is going to happen going forward. They will obviously have some negotiation teams in there. Whether they actually have any direct input on the meetings going forward, we shall wait and see. We know that Peter V'landys has taken a bit more of a hands-on role with the negotiations as well. So he's sort of superseded and stepped in over Andrew Abdo, and he's decided to get a bit more involved. Now, if an agreement is concluded, I can still see heads rolling. Now, whether that's Clint Newton gone out of the RLPA or Andrew Abdo replaced as head of the NRL, who knows, because you still need a head of the RLPA and you still need a head of the NRL going forward, because the RLPA is also there to represent player interests. So there could be a whole variety of other issues not related to the CBA that may or may not come up. And of course, the players do need some representation. Now, whether the NRL are willing to work alongside and with Clint Newton going forward on other issues outside of the CBA negotiations, if they can't find a working relationship, then Clint Newton, his position is probably untenable. Same with Andrew Abdo. If the RLPA cannot work alongside Andrew Abdo in the league, Andrew Abdo's position becomes pretty much untenable. Similar to what happened to Todd Greenberg. There was the trust and the faith in Todd Greenberg in the last year or so he was in charge of the NRL ebbed away to the point where no one wanted to really work with him. And initially COVID gave him a bit of a reprieve, but they weren't going to renew his contract, and they decided in the end to part company in the middle of lockdown. So we'll see what happens, but talks are going to resume. How long these talks last, we shall wait and see, and we could see a CBA agreement quite quickly, or they could still drag on. But regardless, an outcome needs to happen by the end of this season. Obviously, the NRL are very, very keen to get games taken to Vegas. They pretty much confirmed they're going to start next season in Vegas with like the Sea Eagles, Roosters, Broncos and Rabbitohs as the teams that are going to be going to Vegas to open next season. So between now and then, a CBA does need to be agreed because technically the new season, so pre-season and then opening matches, opens in late January, early February. That's when the trials begin. That's when the pre-season training begins, and that's technically the start of next season. The end of this season is the end of season test matches. So when Tonga, for example, tour the UK and play 3 tests against England after the grand final takes place on the 1st of October. So there's a very, very small window in which to get a deal done. The fact we've taken this long is concerning, but now the fact that Peter V'landys has got involved says that we may see a deal done sooner rather than later. Now, both sides are going to have to give concessions in order to get a deal over the line. The RLPA want 100 changes. The NRL, I said, take it or leave it deal. They've got to meet somewhere in the middle, and I can see heads rolling at both organisations, be it Clint Newton, Andrew Abdo, or others, as an outcome of this, because this has been a very messy, drawn-out, lengthy affair. Which has served to damage the reputation of both the league and the RLPA. And I don't think all the players are fully behind the stance currently taken, and I don't think there's full unity within the governance side of the game between the Australian Rugby League Commission and the NRL over the deal that's on the table either, because I don't think there's been enough unbiased reporting up to this point, which is frustrating. There's very, very few independent news websites and newspapers and outlets that are giving a balanced, fair opinion on this lengthy negotiation process. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.